Howdy, beautiful Bart here, and welcome. Alright, quick update on what's going on with the little project I've been kind of sitting on. Again, you can see it is a Steam-based project. See, access Steam community while playing. This is not the final menu by any means, just placeholder. But yeah, you will need Steam running in the background, and any client that wants to join in multiplayer needs to be on the same Steam region. And if I need to, I will show a method of doing that where you can change your download region for Steam so that it doesn't matter what country anybody else is in, you can join with this architecture and it'll work. So without further ado, go to multiplayer, will host. This is version 2. So I will make a game called version 2. Go in. As you can see, I have added, if you watch the other videos, I've added in some ambient NPCs. I'm going to change the nav mesh bounds around. I don't want them walking everywhere like they're doing now. And get some girls just dancing and waving up here on top platform. Added a couple people right here sitting down eating, girl behind the counter, that kind of stuff. And we got the girls dancing, got the bartenders back there, got the bouncer at the front door. We'll have some people just ambiently sitting here, just kind of doing whatever. Bartender does not work just yet, but will at some point. Nothing in this room right here. This will probably be like a Coke check or whatever, I don't know yet. Yeah, when the NPCs stop, when they're just doing their normal roaming around stuff, there are a couple Easter eggs that I'm not going to show. One that you might see here and there, but weird looking shadow there. Ah, there's a rocket going up. And another one going up over there. And yes, the hoverboard. It actually has a sound now. So whenever you're on the hoverboard, it plays a little, almost sounds like a damn vacuum cleaner. But for now, it'll do, sound-wise. You get off, the sound goes away. Get on, it comes back. Works just fine. The rockets that are flying overhead actually have their own sound as well. So if you're close enough to them, you'll actually hear it. And these are just temporary rockets. I just slapped something together just so I'd have something there. And working on the staging a little bit, I've got like 5 or 6 different locations where they'll spawn from. And I've got the time set to where it's random for each one of them, but apparently not random enough. So we'll follow this guy whenever he gets to his destination or where he chooses to go to, except for when he runs into somebody else. And see, everybody is this, yeah, so they kind of bend over like they're winded. You see, I've only got 5 different characters that I can randomly choose between, and you see a lot of them, it defaults to that one alien. So, yeah, there goes one of the rockets. You can barely hear the sound in the background if I would shut up. And I don't know why, but the particles for the flame, they don't show up all the time. And I don't know why. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I've added some smoke emitters from a couple different locations, or steam emitters, to look like the city's a bit more alive. Back on the hoverboard here, and there goes that random one just flying across the screen again. See, the emitter is not on. I don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, the one key will actually turn on and off your hoverboard. I'll probably put well, I should put an animation on, so whenever you're walking normal and you want to deploy it, it stops your character and then does an animation for, I don't know, maybe since you've got grab handles on your back, that might be attaching points for your hoverboard. So whenever you don't have it deployed, it's sitting on your back. But then again, when you do hit it, it will reach behind you. And I've got animations that are like reaching for a weapon, which should work. And then it just puts you in this animation system here. Put a random song just playing right here, just to add some other ambience to the city. Short term, I've added in some little fun things just to explore around the map a little bit more. And this is, again, just a temporary map. So you can spring yourself up here. You can jump on this one. Automatic launchers. So you can actually get up there if you want to. Right down the ramp. Well, let's see here. If you come over to this spot, I'm probably going to move this planter over a little bit because you can't quite get in between here. But you can sneak on over here and jump up to there, jump over to here, and explore around. I'm not going to show you everything on these, just because I want you to be able to explore around a little bit. These aren't going to stay, but you can wander around and get to different locations and so forth. Another thing that I added in was the radar dish. Revolves now. Nice and slow revolving satellite dish. So there's our rocket again. Cheesy, I know, but the emitter's working on that one. Don't know why it's only working sometimes. The V key will change your view from first to third person. The number 2 key will stop you and allow you to dance. Kind of pointless if you have no music, but I thought it was kind of cool to be able to, I'd forgotten how to turn sound on and off, to actually turn it off. The sound should be attached to the player, so if another player is there and they're stationary and they don't have their hoverboard out, they're not going to hear the sound until somebody gets close enough to them. Then they'll hear the sound of the hoverboard as they go by. So I'll get some other testers in and verify it, but it's kind of hard to verify sound replication and stuff on a single computer because everything's coming out of the same speakers. But it is nice that it does play and stop. And since I was reminded that I'm old and crap, and apparently that I had the hoverboard facing the wrong direction, that has been rectified. As you can see, the glowing portion is on the back end on the kicktail. So that has been fixed. The speed update whenever you're on the hoverboard is a little bit faster than walking. So if you're wanting to go somewhere in a hurry, then you can hop on your hoverboard. I may do like a walk speed and then sprint to shift, and then you can jump on the hoverboard. And I may actually do a bonus to your speed, like a battery pack for your hoverboard, so that once your battery runs out, you can't use it until the battery is charged back up again. And you can dance, but you cannot go to the hoverboard while you're dancing. And if you're on the hoverboard, you can't dance. So, did fix that as well. That was in version 0.5, I guess you could say. And those rockets will be replaced later on with something that'll look a little bit nicer. Alright, I know that the majority of my audience that normally watches my videos is not going to be on at this time of the morning. I just wanted to show a little update of what's going on with this. I have not uploaded this version yet. There's a few more things that I wanted to change around, like the navigation, the nav mesh mount itself. I'm going to remove from the interior of the building for the club, just because I don't want the NPCs running in and out of the strip club. If so, I might build a separate one just for that. I still got some more signs, like right here. There's nothing on the back side of that sign. See where it says Fresh Adult Zub. There's nothing on the back. And that's to do with the actual object itself. I could just reverse it so it's like the SynCorp sign there. Will be replaced with something you can see on the back side. And the other one up there for the, what does it say? Virtual Life. That one you can see at least. It's a double-sided sign, so you can see through the back side of it. And even that one right there. That's Russian or whatever that is. Yeah, a couple more signs that have to be fixed. My ad system will go in, and the SynCorp signs will all be changed out to different signs, like that one right up there. This is going to be the police station, as you can see by... You get a little sound that plays whenever you get close enough to the car. But this will be the police station, and this will also be like the checkpoint. So you'd be able to go here and actually load into a different map. Or have the option to go to a different map. But I thought it was nice having the rockets going by, them having sound, the hoverboard having sound. I may do a sound whenever you hit jump while you're on the hoverboard. Other things like that. Just, you know, things to update. Things that will be going on is these will be save stations, so you can actually come up here and manually save your game. I hear a rocket. There it goes. Did it very, very simplistic. What I'll do here in just a second is I'll switch back to the editor, and I'll go in there and I'll show how I did some of these things here. And see, it actually just destroys itself after a few seconds. Camera seems to be a little bit smoother now. It's not perfect, but it's still a bit smoother. I'm going to make a few more tweaks to the first-person view, because you can actually get on hoverboard while you're in first-person view or third-person. Doesn't matter. And again, the V is in Victor. Key is for changing your view status. The number 1 key gets you on and off the hoverboard, and the number 2 key will stop you in dance. So again, these are going to be save stations, and the reason why you're going to want to use these is this is going to be the lobby, a virtual room, city area that will be an actual lobby. So you'll have save stations, you'll have ATMs. So if you're out playing a different game mode and you come back and you're going to want to deposit your money, so you put your money in the ATM. There'll be a larger variety of NPCs. That was just something to fill space. Save station here. Sanitation department. Come down here. This is going to be the basic chop shop, where you'll go and do basic things. Like this will be an NPC. Well, it is an NPC, but it'll be a vendor that you can actually come to, talk to, and you'll be able to change between the 4 different colors of your basic chassis. So this is, you know, the character that you're running around as right now is the basic chassis. You can upgrade to different colors. I'm thinking like this right here might be the pawn shop, where you can come in here and sell items or what have you. There will be a full inventory system as well. For right now, these VR booths, I may actually edit them in Blender and get rid of the hanging VR headsets. Instead of it being a VR booth, I'll change the graphic on it as well and actually use this as a teleport booth or something. I don't know what I'm going to do with them just yet. I had been using them as teleporters, but you know, still with the hoverboard, when you're on a slope, stairs, things like that, you'll actually be able to slide off still. The save stations are already something that's all around town, so yeah, those will work. Maybe using these as like a metal detector system. I swear, this stupid hoverboard is addictive as hell. Alright, so let's actually get back into the editor, if I can get off my hoverboard. And the key things that I think would be interesting for people to know is how to spawn and kill sounds, so that you can have control of it. So let's go back to the main menu by hitting escape and exit. And I'm going to actually load up the project file. Take a couple seconds here. So the interesting part for me was the sound and the cheap, cheesy way I did the player launchers or character launchers. And I should go into Go into the test map. Just so there's nothing else going on there. So yeah, going into the hoverboard, I guess I could do 2 players and try really quickly here. Go to 2 players and new pie window. I'm going to actually leave the server as, okay, this is the client here. So we're going to put the client on the hoverboard when you hear a sound. Now, bring the server in. Server, we don't hear the sound at all. Okay, I don't hear it. Alright, so let's put the server here. I'll have to come back and look at that later. So I can hear the sound, and I guess it's not really a bad thing. The server is actually on his hoverboard. And let's take the client, let's get him off his board. Alright, not necessarily a bad thing, but I will get that replicated and working correctly. So that if it matters, I don't really think it really matters all that much. As long as you can hear your hoverboard, that's all that really matters. Alright, so let's get into the other stuff. So, to make the sound play, and the fact that it's actually attached to the player itself. And then whenever I stop, it goes away. Let's go into the character, and it's kind of a mess in here, so bear with me. So whenever I hit the number 1 key, it's going to ask, are we dancing? If we're not dancing, then we can use our hoverboard. So when we're using the hoverboard, I'm going to get a reference to my mesh, and I'm going to spawn sound attached. The sound that I'm using is, and should be, my hoverboard cue. Yeah. And the cue itself is going to handle the attenuation and all that stuff on it. And then all I did was drag off from the return value, and I created a variable called the board sound, or it could be hoverboard sound, whatever you want to call it. But I created a variable here for this sound itself. Then put a reference to the board sound here, which is the new variable that I created. I see it here, but I don't see it there. Weird. Okay, well, yeah, I created it, and it's here, but now I don't see it in this list over there. That's odd. Okay, so but yeah, all I did was I drag off from the board sound, which is the variable that I created whenever I made this, and I asked, is playing, and I ran a branch node, and if it is playing, then stop. And that's run off of the, whenever I stop using the hoverboard, that command right here then unchecks the onboard status, so you're no longer on the hoverboard. It checks to see if your board sound is still playing. If it is, then stop. It's nice and easy. Can't get much easier than that. This is the dancing with replication. Yeah, that's all good on that. Nothing new added in here, so I've got to go in here and clean all this stuff up. This is the hoverboard to use and stop using the hoverboard, and replication for it. And then the number 1 key, this is the rest of the portion of it right there. So what I'll probably end up doing is replicating this, which might help, and from that, let's see, that, like I said, that may help with getting it to replicate correctly. I will test that more, but I don't know why it doesn't show up over here. It's just kind of odd. It is a variable. You can see that I got all the information right here, but I don't have it over here. If it's not going to work correctly here for the sound with replication, then I will add it into the use hoverboard system. I'll just put it onto the end of here for it to spawn sound attached, and then create the variable there. And then on the stop using the board, for the client side of the stop using the board, I'll put this information right there. And so one way or the other, I should be able to get it to work. I hadn't tested it in multiplayer just yet. Okay, the other little fun assets. Gadgets. The launcher, I can just drag them, drop them in the map, and there it is. So I walk over, and as soon as you walk over the top of it, it springs you up in the air. And you have control a little bit of your movement, so you can move a little bit while you're in the air. Instead of just going only this direction, which might throw you off the map, you can turn around and kind of aim a little bit. These things are stupid simple to create. A launcher is essentially just your launch pad, which is the model you want to use for your launch pad if you want to use one. I kind of like that one. And then you add a box collision to it. And then you right click on add event and on component begin overlap. And then you want to cast to your player character. I've got it set to character, cast to character, which means now even the NPCs can step on these and get catapulted in the air. But then as character, you launch character, and that's it. You change your Z value, which is the height. You can screw around with the X and the Y. If you want to get really complicated, you can get the character as your character right here, get character transform, and you can make it to where it can spring you only forward in one direction or whatever you want. But this is the simplest form of it. In on component begin overlap, it launches you up in the air. It's super simple. The police car. I'm not sure if you paid attention to the police car in the city there. The couple of effects that were going on with that. God, I can hear a sound of a cat getting raped. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not much of a cat fan. And for it to be like almost 4 o'clock in the morning, you hear a cat screeching. It's annoying as hell. It'd be more annoying if my ass was in bed like I should be. So we'll run down here to the end of the street and up off the board. The first one you can see is the lights blinking. The second one, when you get close enough, you hear a little radio squawk sound. And I've got the lights set up to where the light bar, the blue section of it, they alternate left and right and on and off. And the red do the same thing. So the red and the blue center sections won't be on at the same time. When one goes off, the other comes on. Same thing for the end pieces. When the blue is on, the red's off. When the red's on, the blue's off. And they're cycling back and forth. So the sound effect and the lighting, simple enough. Go into this. The vehicle itself is actually normally in the Polygon, from Cine Studios, the Polygon SCi-Fi pack. If you go into the vehicles, and I am using the police car, what I did was I opened up the skeletal mesh, clicked on right here to make static mesh, so that I could use it a little bit differently. I was having some problems with the collision box and the physics box and everything of the car itself, and the player being, you know, the bot being able to lean up against it. So I changed it over to become a static mesh instead of a skeletal mesh, just by clicking on that button right there and telling it where I want it to save to. So the actual card that's being used here is actually a static mesh made from the skeletal mesh. Really simple. Going the other direction is a little bit more complicated. So I've got all these lights here, and I've given them proper names. BMF for me is not bad mother flipper. This would be blue, yeah, English. B for blue, M for mid, and F for front. Blue for blue, mid, rear. Blue outside, or offset, either one, rear. So giving them abbreviations lets me know which one is which. Now, they're not lit right now. I have them defaulted to off. If I turn this on for visible, you can see that's a blue light. If I grab one of the red ones, I can do the same thing. So go to the graph. On component begin overlap on the sound, all it is it gets the location of the car itself, and it plays a sound at that location. That's all it is to it. So only when the player does it is when it actually plays the sound. For this, I actually broke it down into 2 custom events, one for the red lights, one for the blue lights, and ran a sequence node. To get started off with, you get the blue mid lights, and all I did was set visibility to true, did a 0.2 of a second, just a normal default delay, and then I turned those 2 lights off, and then a delay again of the same 0.2 seconds, and then I drug from here to here so that it would be an endless loop. And then to stagger it so that the outside version of the blue lights was off by default. So what I did was I gave it a delay of 0.2 seconds. So this one turns on and this one is being delayed, and then at the same time that these are going off, these are coming on. And then again the delay and turning them back off, and then I did a loop back to this delay here. So it works, and exactly the same principle here. In fact, you could really and truly almost copy and paste everything there. The only difference is instead of this starting off with a blue mid, it's starting off with the red outside edge. And then it alternates to the blue mids. So it's just alternating back and forth. And then I ran from event begin play, the custom event for blue lights, custom event for red lights. Very simple. And last but not least, the rocket ship. So we can actually look. There's my cop car static mesh, and the static mesh for the rocket. All I did was I used a cylinder, a cone. I used a cube that I flattened out. I used another cone here and then a cone here, and that's it. And I just combined them together to make that static mesh. The next thing I did was I created a gadget for it for the rocket ship, and then another one for the rocket ship pads to actually launch them. So the rocket ship itself, the only thing you've got here is event begin play, delay for 20 seconds, destroy actor. Basic enough. The viewport, we've got the rocket, and we've got it pushed up, so you don't need to, because it's not going to bounce. You don't need it to bounce, so I didn't need to make that the root, but I did. I added a projectile movement to it, which is kind of cheating for making it move, but it works, you know. Got the flame, which is the particle effect here, and then the sound itself is the cue is attached directly as a sound component. So yeah, I mean, this is simple. I mean, very, very simple for the rocket. So you can see the attenuation is rather large for the sound. I wanted you to be able to hear it whenever it was going by. So, but not all the way across the frickin' map. So that's why I did an attenuation with it. For the projectile movement, initial speed 800, max speed of 1000. Not letting it bounce, and the gravity was set to 0. Because if you don't change that from a 1 to a 0, what will happen is the rocket will take off and then it'll peter out and just fall back down again. So I set the gravity scale to 0, so there's no gravity on the rocket, so it just takes off and goes straight up. On the rocket pad, all I did was I created a base pad, which is the same one as the launcher pad that I did. Just, I don't know, kind of like the looks of it. And add an arrow. I didn't really need to add the arrow in. I could use a scene component or anything else, but I did an arrow. I didn't even bother pointing it straight up and down. Didn't matter. It works just like this. And then the event graph. On event begin play, it gets a random float in range between 30 seconds and 240 seconds for the initial delay. So what happens is anywhere between 30 seconds and 240 seconds is the delay before it launches a rocket. And the rocket itself is just a custom event I created. Didn't need to be replicated. It's fine. Delay of 5 seconds, just for the map to load, and then spawn actor rocket ship and get the world transformed from the arrow for the position for it to spawn the projectile, which is in this case the rocket itself. Very simple. I mean, stupid simple. Let's actually go into, I didn't change anything on city map, kiss my ass. So I can actually go anywhere I want on the map, and all I've got to do now is just go in here and throw down a rocket pad. And let's see, Control C, Control V. I can put as many of the damn things as I want into the map. I'm just going to put 2 in. Actually, let's put 3 in for giggles. We hit play, nothing's going to happen. I have not tried standing on the damn things to see what happens when you stand on it, but players won't be able to get to where the spawners are, so it shouldn't be a problem. And I set it up to where they're all vertical except for one, which is horizontal, so it flies slow across the map. So you'll have to wait between 30 seconds and 240 seconds for a rocket to actually fire, which is good. You don't want them constantly going off a barrage of freaking missiles every 2 seconds or whatever. You'll have issues with collisions and everything else, and it'll just get kind of screwy. So we'll wait for a couple seconds here, or a minute here to see what actually happens. But like I said, all you have to do is just throw the rocket pads in where you want these rockets to spawn from, and that's it. It's taking forever. I promise they work. It's going to take forever just because we're watching it. Okay, why aren't you launching yet? Okay, so don't know why that's not working. Works just fine. The rocket itself, I just put the ship in here and hit play. And that's the projectile once it spawns. It'll fire, it'll go up nice and slow up into the sky, the little booster trail behind it, and after, it's gone up far enough, you lose interest in it and it just despawns. Or destroy actor. And there you go. That way you don't have 500 actors sitting there, because every time it launches one, the rocket itself will just get stuck. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that guy. And I'm going to grab these rocket pads. I don't think it's a problem, but I'm going to raise them up just a little bit. The ones that I've got in the map are actually behind the scenes. They're behind the actual map portion. They're actually not resting on anything. So it spawns, then the rocket will be there, and then just immediately start going. So let's hope that it doesn't make a liar out of me. Wow, for real? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these 3. They work. I know they work. But for some reason, they're being problematic. I'm just going to duplicate it. Make a temporary version. Open it up. And we're going to go 2 seconds. Actually, let's go 20 seconds and 30 seconds on our delays here. Because you got a delay launch rocket, and then there's a delay in the launch rocket. So it works. He says, as it sits there and doesn't work. Gotta be shitting me. Why are you not working? Alright, so... Son of a bitch. Alright, well, I'll show you the other thing here, which was the satellite dish. It's small. The version that's in the other map is actually scaled up 5x. Gonna bug the crap out of me here. I didn't have to change anything. Wait 20 or 30 seconds and it should fire one. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it's not interfering with the walls there. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just drag it over here, get it out of the map area, and I'm going to rotate it. So now it should fire and go over the top of the map. So yeah, the satellite dish, you can leave it small if you want to put it on top of a vehicle or something like that, just for the heck of it. Yeah, you can actually stand on it if you want to, but all I've done with it on the other map was actually scale it up to be a little bit larger. So, and new problems. There you go. That's it. Of course, it's going sideways, and the speed of it, the rocket booster's not going to work as good. But yeah, that's that. You can, like I said, you can scale it up. And there you go. Make it bigger. Make it big as you freaking want. And even though it does have collisions, it's pivoting on the base, so no big deal. I had some turrets set up into the map and having some issues with them because I was just being lazy as hell whenever I made them. They're not done, and it seems to always want to point at your pecker, so to make some offset adjustments, but it tracks, and there you go. But what was happening was you get to a certain point and it starts freaking out. See, there's another rocket fire in there. It tracks host, client, doesn't matter who it is. But there were certain situations where it was actually not working correctly. If you try to put it on something, I set it up as a bot itself. I was going to experiment with a roving tank, and yeah, it's just not a thing. Alright, so that's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I added tonight that is worth mentioning. The random walkers, all it is just a random integer in range, and it's just setting the skeletal mesh. And all I did was added 5. If I want to add in another here, all I'd have to do is just essentially Control C, Control V, add another one of the equal nodes, plug it into this, change the number to 6, change that number to 6, and add in one more of these, Control C and Control V that. So you drop that in, and just go from the false node to there, tell it which one I want. The last one was cyber male, so let's do cyber female. Nope, cyberpunk male. And just have to remember to connect your equal boolean down here to this guy, and your mesh reference down to there, and I can keep adding more and more and more as I feel froggy. The event tick on here, essentially to get him walking, is I created a variable set is walking. So I ask is walking. If the answer is false, then tell AI to move to, and I want to get random point navigatable radius. Probably do in reachable radius as well, and I set that to 5,000. I'm going to lower that down to 3,000. That's the radius of which they will walk around and stop. And then get actor location, which plugs in for the origin. From the executable, you want to do is walking is true, so that your event tick knows that it's walking. I'm going to put in a delay of 0.2 seconds, and so basically what happens is they stop, and they perform the animation montage that they're just bending over doubled as they're winded. And then between 2 and 5 seconds later, it tells it it's not walking anymore, so it allows it to start or resume walking again. So that's all I did with them. These guys are just, I'm going to do some other things with these. They're temporary. The stripper, all she is just that there's nothing in the graph. It's just referencing the mesh and using an animation asset of dance 01. That's all she's going to ever do is just dance. I'll set up other things with her. But what I did in the map itself was, whenever I placed the other ones in, I just drug in the actual animation. So let me find a spot and put somebody down. So let's say we want a vendor right here. I could actually go back in here if I want to, go into my animations, pedestrian, and let's say like one of the bar ones, bar clean 2. Yeah, you still see the hoverboard in here because of the way I did everything. So bar clean 2 sounds like a good idea, and I'm going to put it right there. So there's a vendor actually standing back there, but I don't want it to be the same bot that the player runs around as. So what I can do is come over here to, you got animation to play, and you don't want to really mess with that. You can actually select the mesh right here and change that around. So if I want the monk male to be the one that's actually standing behind the counter, I can change it to that. And you can change the material, which will change the way that they actually look. You want to be purple or what have you. I haven't looked at all these, so they're going to have to compile shaders. You would think that it would compile all of them, you know, but whatever. So I'm actually going to go ahead and change it to 2A, so it's this guy. Alright, so that's that. Just for a stationary person, until I'm ready to make them into a full, active, usable NPC or something of that nature, then that's just what it's going to be. So you can see there's our vendor, temporary vendor. Alright, let's see if that new character is in here. Jump on a hoverboard, move a little bit faster. Let's see. Let's see, you did the winded montage there. Alien, there's another one bending over. Make them do other things whenever they stop, whatever you want. But, you know, this is just the progress that I've done so far. And there was something else that I wanted to change. After I've already packaged it up and done a playable mode, it was something that I wanted to change on it before I uploaded, and I forgot what the hell it was. But yeah, so there's Easter eggs spread around the map. just for right now until any form of other stuff goes on. This is meant to be just the lobby itself. So, yeah, explore. I'll upload the new version of it. I may skip a day, unless, you know, because it is 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I was thinking about doing this. Grabbing that guy and just moving it over, because it gets in the way a little bit. And let's play from here. Now you can walk across. And I'll show you this one, which is being able to jump up to here. Jump it across there. And you can explore around. Like I said, I'm not going to show all the little hidden things. I want people to get in here and explore. This is still partially on track as being the try before you buy version, but to replace it when it's already up there. But there's some things that I might need to change. The only thing that's not in the actual asset pack itself is going to be the animations. The primary animations, you can see that there's 217 items in this one folder. There was 216. I have one that I've converted into a montage. Other than that, there's 216 animations in this pack. It's the pedestrians pack from the marketplace. 216 freaking animations, and they're awesome. But of course, you're not going to get the animations with this asset pack, or with with this asset pack. You're not going to get the music. The music itself comes from Technoax. The sound files that I'm using, like for the hoverboard and for the rockets and other sound that I'm using, they come from royalty-free websites. But that. I'm going to go ahead and save all. Save selected. Close this project down for the night. Go back into the actual daily build version, which is there. And it'll come up. And you can host and find, but just you have to remember that it is Steam based, so you have to have Steam running in the background. If you're just playing by yourself, you can just hit single player and go right in, and you don't have to worry about it. But if you want other people to join you, you can host a game and your friends can join you by hitting the join button. Get out of my way, lizard boy. There is a version of this that is already uploaded and linked in my Discord channel. However, this version is not uploaded. I think what I'll do before I go to bed is go ahead and upload this. It'll take me like 12 to 15 minutes. What's happening, buddy? This is the latest version of the meant to be the try before you buy for the replacement. I love the fact though that you do finally have sound file for the sound of the hoverboard. And it's not obtrusive. I mean, it's not to let you know that you're on the hoverboard, but it's not blowing your eardrums out. If it is, I keep forgetting. I've got my volume turned down quite a bit. This one, the building sticking through, can't avoid that. That's just going to be a thing. So I'll put something here. What I usually do is I turn this building into a restaurant and put like sofas and crap like that in here. And what I'm thinking about doing also is once this is actually a hosted server, yeah, I gotta fix that crap too. Overlapping floor tiles. But what'll happen is there will be a volume in here. So as soon as you walk into a building, it'll automatically dismount you from your hoverboard. That way you don't have people coming in here, yay, being a jackass and screwing around all inside the nightclub on the frickin' hoverboard. But yeah, for anybody that played the other version that I released yesterday, there was a problem with the collision of the hoverboard. Even whenever it was undeployed, it would actually knock the strippers off the stage and knock people around as well. fun for players, but yeah, annoying that it was knocking the NPCs around. I did change the sound attenuation on the club so it's louder outside, but still a short attenuation range. Right here I can't hear it at all, but it's stronger as you get close, and then it just is full level. Like I'll put a blocking volume in to where, well, not a blocking volume, but a volume in to where it's a trigger that will automatically dismount people from their hoverboards, and maybe even set their walk speed to half the normal walk speed. So you don't have people that are just doing, you know, the thing where they're running around and being... You can't stop people from being a jackass, but at least you can slow them down, is what I'm trying to say. And again, and... yeah, I've already done that in this video. That's why it's been going for almost an hour. It's because I showed everything and explained how it all works. Yeah, thank you for watching. Oh, and actually, let's go back in. I'll go back in really quickly into the project, but yeah, I showed that earlier in the actual video of how I got everything to work. But I'll load a project real quick. No big deal. You just got here. Wanted to show the gravity portion of the hoverboard. The rockets. Everything was, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm stupid, so, you know. Yes, I call it Hoth. Is the name of the, was making a ski resort. So you can actually, I'm going to end up ditching this map right here. It was just for testing the hoverboard. I hate this material, but get on the hoverboard and get going down the hill, and see my hands are here, and it's gravity is forcing him to go down the hill. There's that turret again with the thing. But what happens if you get too close? The turret freaks out. So got to fix that. But the crash drone there, and there's another player bot that got destroyed. And we'll screw around with cable actors. But just kind of showing how the... no worries. No worries. But you cannot go up hills, most hills that is, on the hoverboard. You can't get up. So you actually have to get off your hoverboard to go up the hills. So yeah, the let's go to my test map. Still got the rocket pad, and this is to make the rockets there work and randomly spawn. It's the rocket things. I'm gonna go back in here to, hey, if I can do it, anybody can. I'm no genius. What I did was I created just a placeholder, which was a you know, for the rocket itself. It's a cylinder, 3 cones, and 4 cubes that I flattened out and converted into a static mesh. I mean, literally all you're doing, you grab that, go to 0 and 0, raise it up, change the vertical scale to 5. You can raise it up a little bit more if you want to. Grab a cone, and actually I did do 2x and 2x. Grabbed a cone, did the same thing, 0 and 0, and I just raised it up for the nose cone section and scaled it 2 by 2 by 2. You could do 3 or 4 or 5 if you want on the Z, and make that even taller. More of a pointy nose cone. And since it's not going to snap normally, you may have to uncheck snapping. And did the same basic thing with another cone here at the bottom. Threw that down, and by putting it 0 and 0, it lines up perfectly. And then did 2 by 2 by 0.5, and just rotated it upside down by 180, and threw that on to the bottom. and change the color. I've got materials that I've already made that were different colors. To do the the rocket engine booster, and that's it right there. Like I said, stupid simple for actually making the model itself. So we're not worried about making the model. You can actually do all this, and then you select all your pieces together when you put all the fins and everything else on. And when you're happy with it, you right click and convert actors to static mesh. Tell it what folder you want it to go to. In my case, I put it in this folder right here. But for this map, I'm going to delete you because you end up with that. There's no collision on it. You don't need collisions on it. I added a collision to it, but you don't need collisions on it because players aren't going to touch it anyway. What I thought about doing was a modified version of this as a rocket sled to ride on, but you got a freaking hoverboard. What more do you want? Damn. So to actually make the rocket move, what I've done was I went to my gadgets folder and I created a rocket ship. And then it varied by delays, but inside the rocket itself, this is it. Event begin play, delay 20 seconds, destroy actor. In the viewport, as you can see, all I did was I added in the rocket, the flame emitter at the bottom, the sound that I wanted for it, with the sound being a sound cue with attenuation and everything else. And I added a projectile movement. Projectile movement, I set initial speed at 800, max speed of 1000 to keep it nice and slow going up in the air. And I turned gravity off so that it doesn't fall. So that's all I did for the actual the rocket itself. Made it a projectile. It's no different than a frickin' bullet, just a really big bullet. And this is my test pad here. What I've done is I removed a lot of the delays and shortened it down. I shortened it even more. We'll do 10 and 20 second delays. I'll actually go into the actual version and show how it all works. But if I throw that in here, and the problem with it is the rockets are tall and it spawns from right here. So I'm just going to grab it and throw it off the map. You don't really need to see it anyway, but now here in 10 seconds it'll actually spawn a rocket and you'll hear the sound and so forth. And then I'll go into the actual rocket pad blueprint. So now between 10 and 20 seconds it'll actually launch a rocket. I can hear the sound. Where is it? Oh, there it goes. And you see the rooster tail coming off the back of it, and after 20 seconds, it will destroy itself, and there you go. And well, there goes another one. But what I do notice is it doesn't play the emitter all the time from a damn projectile, which is kind of weird. I'll figure that out later. But now every 10 to 20 seconds, it'll fire off another missile at a random interval. So I'm actually going to kill that one because that one was made just out of shiites and grins. Force delete, save all, and go into the actual rocket pad itself. All it is on event begin play. Well, I made a custom event, and it doesn't have to be replicated. I gave it a 5-second delay, and then to make sure the map is good and loaded properly, then the arrow itself, all it is the launch pad and an arrow. I didn't change the direction of the arrow, didn't need to, because it's the location of the base of the arrow is what I really needed. I could have actually done a scene component, and it probably would have worked, but I like using the arrows. So yeah, I called my custom event launch rocket. Got a reference to the arrow, get world transform. So after a 5-second delay, I spawn actor from class, and the class being rocket ship that I created. And then now, between 30 seconds and 240 seconds of delay, it will then launch the rocket, and it works perfectly fine. Lovely. The launch pads Again, I'm just doubling up. The launch pad itself, these are player launchers. So when you step on it, boink, throws you up in the air. You can still control your character a little bit while it's in the air too. So love these things. I use them all over the freaking place. When I'm trying to make a map more fun, these things just come in handy. And all it is the static mesh that I want for the visual representation of it. You don't even have to have one if you don't want one. And then a box collision. And then I right click on that, select add event on component begin overlap, and it places that in here. Cast to character if you want NPCs and players to do it, or cast to your player character if you only want the player to be able to do it. And then as player character, launch character. I added Z at 1500. The lower the number, the lower the amount you're going to jump. Trust me, you don't want to put it over about 1,500, 2,000. You can put it 5,000 if you want to, but you'll go to the frickin' moon. Yeah, see what I'll end up doing is I'll add a sound effect in here, and at that point I'll just do play sound at location, and then I'll get, you know, a reference to the location and that kind of stuff. The rocket I'm not worried about because Cinti should be coming out with the their space pack soon, and it'll actually have different spaceships and stuff in it. As for the little launcher, yeah, it's good enough for now. The rocket pad, don't even need anything visual for the launch pad because they're hidden in the outside edges of the map. They're just meant to be something going on in the background. The turret I'm going to completely rebuild, so I'm not worried about that. The satellite dish is nothing in here at all. It's just the static mesh and a rotating movement. I mean, all you do is you come in here, you type in rotate, and you find rotating movement. And I set the Z on the rotating component to 30 for a nice slow rotation. And when you hit play, the satellite dish turns nice and slow. Instead of 30, the default is 180. It's a little fast for these things to be spinning. And it's the exact same thing I use for the hamburger. The hamburger has actually two meshes. The yellow one, which is see-through, and the actual hamburger itself. You just put it at an angle so you can see it from a distance and know what it is. This has collisions, so if possible, you could almost get on top of it. Well, you can get on top of it and ride the burger. The police car, I showed this earlier too. For the sound it makes whenever you get close to it, that's it. It's just a box collision, and it just plays sound at location. Again, you want the map to feel like there's something going on. And the version that I released yesterday, God, it's the hoverboard is so freaking addictive. You know, I was in with one of my team members, and we just probably spent 2 hours just talking. But while we're talking, we're just riding around on the freaking hoverboard. But yeah, I had to have a sound for the hoverboard, and I had to fix that collision issue where the hoverboard still had collision on it. I removed the collisions from the hoverboard. Yep. There's the hovering Chinese food takeout bucket, the burger over there, and satellite dish over there. So I put the launch pads for the players. Yeah. And different locations so you can play around with it. Be able to get on top of the different buildings and look around, check things out. And this was their demonstration map. I've just been changing around until I actually get time to spend time to build a map. I'm just going to use the demonstration map. They actually do, because it is a projectile movement. Wait until one of the other ones out here actually launch. There are longer delays here. There you go. See, and two of them launch at the same time. But if you watch them, they actually turn a little bit as they don't spin, but they do turn a little bit. I mean, I could add a rotating movement to them as well. I hadn't tried that yet. Not sure. Let me go to test map and go ahead and put one of the rockets in here. And we hit play. See, it goes up. If you were to watch it, it doesn't go 100% straight. It's curving its trajectory as it's going up. So I wonder if I can actually just come in here and add component, rotating movement, and set that, instead of the default 180, to 12. Something slow. Just to see what's the worst that can happen, right? There we go. It spins a little bit now as it's going up. It's just slow enough to kind of look almost natural, because it's already got a little bit of a curve, a little bit of an arc anyway. So I mean, I could actually take it, and you can, when you place the launch pads down, you can angle them if you want to. You could add a little bit of gravity in, but I probably wouldn't suggest doing the gravity, just simply because it'll cause it to, and if you do, I'd put it really, really low, like 0.1, so that it if it's going to be affected by gravity, it's going to be so slight that it's just very simple. So, I mean, you could put it in this way if you want to. There's no collision on it, so it can just go right through. But you'll notice if you do too steep, the jet flame coming out of the back doesn't want to go with it. I also tried doing that where it was underground. Mine does have collisions, so it's going to actually hit. I probably should turn off collisions completely on the rocket. So let's actually go back in here to collisions, the rocket, which is the actual mesh. You see all the different pieces, parts with all the different materials on it. Whatever. Let's block all dynamic. Let's do no collision. Compile and save. The projectile movement usually negates some of the stuff. So let's see if it works now if I stick it all the way underground. And what happens? Nope, still being stopped. You know, it is a projectile, so it's going to be affected by certain collisions. So you'd want it to be sticking through just a little bit. Nope, more than that, actually. But you get the idea. There you go. So I do like the idea of the rotation. That does give it a little bit more look to it. And it's going to work whenever I go into the other map, because this is the actual projectile. This is the actual the launcher rocket pad. So save this map. Go back to the city. Like I said, there's little tiny Easter eggs I'm hiding all over the frickin' town, and yeah, I'm not going to say anything about what they are, but it encourages players to be able to get out there and actually explore and check things out. On the main menu, I'm going to add in a listing of the key bindings. Like I said, the number 1 key puts you on the hoverboard. Hit it again to come off of it. Hit 2, makes you dance. Hit 2 again, stops dancing. Of course, WASD for the controls. The space bar to jump. That's pretty much it. I haven't done any other things like sprint or any other controls. Oh god, yeah. If you like the sci-fi theme, especially considering the fact that yeah, got that slight rotation to it. The fact that they're doing another space pack coming soon, combining all these together. I like combining the asset packs. I have all the Cindy Studios packs. I mean, I have everything from Cindy. Combination stuff like Frontier and Western go great together. City and Heist are definitely naturals that go together. Town, yeah, another one. If you want to do any kind of combat with the modern stuff, City and Town and Heist works well together. Dungeons and Adventure and Samurai is another good one. Dungeons is freaking amazing. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's saved here, and I'll close this project. And while I'm still awake and can't carry my ass to sleep, I don't have the other one that was with all of the asset packs in there. Knights is good. Knights is good to mix with Dungeons. Yeah, Samurai's was pretty good. I did that one with I had an asset pack for this hack and slash template and swapped that in there, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I like the Samurai feel. I like the buildings that are in there. This pack right here, I do have Sci-Fi, Town, Heist, City, and Battle Royale on here. I don't have all of it active and doing lovely things here, but like the town, I like the town map. I like the town pack in general because you have parts to build your own custom houses if you want to. Wall sections, interior sections, carpet, ceiling, windows, doors. You've got all the little parts to build your own custom buildings if you want to make your own private full town. So I like that. Heist has some of that too. But this is the town here. This is actually one of the characters from the Battle Royale pack. Howdy, howdy. So one of the let's see, one of the dumb things I added in here was if you took damage, there's a bot down here that is actually will find you no matter where you are on the map and will heal you back up. Yeah, there's not very many people doing videos on them, and it's, I love the friggin' asset packs. I mean, they're awesome. Now this project is kind of on hold. I'm waiting on some other stuff to get finished. I hit a radio back here. You can actually hit the 3 key and play music. Exit the menu, come over here and have a seat and chill out and listen to some music. Yeah, I love the sci-fi pack. Keep going back to it. I love this town pack, but I keep going back to the sci-fi pack. Oh, this was it. There's a pain pad. So now I'm injured. You can see in the bottom right hand corner my health is low. This dude will run all the way across the map, find me, and heal me, and then he'll run back to where he was standing. So yeah, what I did with this one is making your own animations. I don't do a lot of. I purchase a lot of my animations, and actually there was this animation system right here, and it freaking breaks every time I turn around. Sitting in a chair. There is a video that I watched online. Guy did a good job talking about it, but his stuff was broke. And it wasn't multiplayer replicated, and I made, what I thought was a nice comment on there, but his stuff was broke. So, but he did offer for free to get from his website was the animations and his sit-down asset pack. Well, his stuff was broke all to hell and back, and nothing personal to him on that, but I took what he started and I finished it and made it work, and with multiplayer replication. So you can actually sit down in a chair and see somebody sitting down in a chair. This is multiplayer as well. And little dumb things like the ceiling fan. I made the ceiling fan work. It adds a nice little touch to the frickin' maps. Oh, there is some gunfire. However, I did not do any animations for shooting yet. That wasn't the portion of this that I was trying to build. I mean, anybody can build a shooter game, you know, for the most part. But I wanted to add in stuff like, you know, the truck that ran into the light pole there. I'll add a flickering with a light bulb flickering on the street light. But to make your own animations the correct way, there's the stereo over here. You can control the radio from anywhere on the map, but you can only hear it where there's actually radios. So yeah, see, the sitting thing breaks all the freaking time. I mean, I'll fix it and then it'll break again. Something else will break. So I just kind of give up for a little while on the sit down stuff. I mean, you can make it where you can sit down like that. Like I said, if you're doing modern stuff, the Battle Royale pack, everybody in the brother said, "You're gonna do a Battle Royale?" Not if I can help it. But for those people who actually like the Battle Royale thing, the Cindy Studios Polygon Battle Royale, it's a little costly, but it's worth it. Yeah, I'm more into. I've got somebody else that does maps for me, but I'm more into actually getting the stuff functional and working, and the cool little extra stuff. I'll spend a couple days just on the main menu. Then I'll spend a couple more days where I'm just doing interface things, or I'm doing functionality, background functionality, NPCs, or AI, or what have you. So I can do maps, but it doesn't matter how cool your map is if the rest of your content sucks. So I like working on the rest of the content. Yeah, this is the demonstration map that comes with the Polygon Battle Royale. The frickin' weapons and everything as it comes in here. Yeah, there's a huge list. Got flare gun, grenades, grenade launchers, scopes, yeah, light machine guns, SCAR, FAMAS, revolvers, AKs, SCAR, 2 different G36, M14 EBR, RPG rocket launcher, 50 caliber sniper rifle, oh god, yeah, bolt action sniper rifle, there's a Dragunov sniper rifle, P90, MP7, just all kinds of guns, the little things like fire axe and crowbar, the things you'd want to have, a pickaxe, a frying pan, a machete, all the little cool little things you'd want for a battle royale game, plus vehicles, where you've actually got like different levels of and destroyed versions of, and as usual, tons and tons and tons of props. I don't remember which project actually had the stuff in there. Got so many projects that I'm working on that for other people and helping them with stuff, and I don't work on them until they're actually going to be online and actually helping with it. So I'm not going to spend hours upon hours of my time helping somebody with a project and they're not going to be around to do anything with it. Like that one. And this is one I was reviewing that was one of the free things that's available this month, to see if there's anything that I could pull from that and use. It shouldn't take as long to load up now, but I keep dogging the guys at Cinti. to get some critters out. There was a horse pack that they put out a while back for Unity, but you can kind of make it work for UE4. But I really want to see more animals. And now, like I said, this is free on the marketplace right now for this month. It's as a rabbit, a squirrel, and a rat. And they are playable. You can play as the rabbit, the squirrel, or the rat. Or as the humanoid. So go into your world settings, play as rabbit, and then set it up, and then go in here, and there you go. I'm a rabbit. The controls are a little wonky and whatnot, but it's still kind of fun. There might be some useful stuff. The idle animations are everything from grooming to standing straight up to laying down and taking a nap. Yeah, I just kind of thought this was kind of a cute thing. Game mode, play as a rat game mode, and change the default pawn class to play as a rat, and now you can be a rat. You see collisions are kind of wonky. There's some other wonky stuff in here. There's a squirrel. Squirrel is just a tree rat. So, yeah. But to answer your question about the animation stuff, the animation that I did for the hoverboard, I needed an animation for the player riding on the hoverboard, and there just isn't one. So what I did was, let's go to characters. I've shown enough videos on doing retargeting and setting up stuff like that. I took the third-person idle animation, and I'll actually go into the test map so you can see what I'm talking about here. And yeah, still got a rocket in here. Don't worry about the rocket. So we hit the hoverboard, and you can see I'm hovering a little bit above the ground, and I have a new idle animation. The player is actually moving. He's idle, and yeah, pretty cool. I hit back, get off of it, get back on again, get off of it, get back on again. So to create the animation, there wasn't one. And all I did was I took the third-person idle animation, and I right-click and select duplicate. It doesn't matter what I call it. I'm going to delete this one anyway. Make a copy of the third-person idle animation. Now, you still see I have the preview asset in here of the hoverboard for, I created a socket, and the socket is actually attached to the root. So all I did was I selected the root, right-click, and add socket, and the socket that I added I called hoverboard, and then I right-clicked on that, add preview asset, and I added the hoverboard in. So that's why you still see the hoverboard in here, which is good, because then now all I got to do is I'll click right here on the pelvis. First thing, I'm going to pause the animation, bring it back to frame 1, and now I'm just going to rotate my player just a little bit, get the pelvis more or less lined up with the board itself, and I'm going to move my thigh out, calf, move that over a little bit, and just kind of mix and match, and while everything is paused, get your character the way you want it to look. And when you're actually happy with like the foot placement, the foot placement's not going to be perfect, because you should actually be uncheck your snapping. Usually helps too. Mine's off a little bit, but unless you actually lock it to both feet with the way you set it up, then let's do that. And just get it to where you want to. And I'm still locked in. I paused the video or the replay, and I am on frame 0 while I'm setting my character up on frame 0. Now this is just for short term for small animations like this right here. So my feet are on here. It's close enough for government work on that. I want my character to be looking forward, so I click on the head, get him looking forward, and get that head down a little bit. And then, you know what? I'd like it if his arms were up a little bit too, and swung back a little bit, so it looks like he's trying to get his balance. You can sit here and go through and make a basic animation, especially for something like this, just for testing. And then once you're pretty much set, and this is how I created that one animation, and everything is the way you want it, your positioning is good, then come up here and hit, well, you got something selected here, then hit key and apply. Now whenever you hit play, the feet really got moved around quite a bit, and they're kind of more or less locked in place. So this is how I made this animation, and it worked. It worked pretty good for me. Now just hit save. If you wanted to, which that one actually looks better than what I'm currently using, so I may switch that one out. Other things like, I don't know, if you want your character to fly, you could do the same basic thing, just change things around. Oh, and on this particular animation, since the board is actually sticking into the ground, I can select the root here and change the elevation. I want to go ahead and pause it, go back to frame 0, and raise it up a little bit here. I'm raising the root, nothing else but just the root. So then I hit save, or hit key and apply, and then hit play. So he's now going to hover above the ground. I can hit save again. Other little things too. If I right click on this, I can create a montage, create a pose asset, animation composite. Easy way to do it is if I right click on this and I create an animation montage, and I'll call this hover board underscore MONT. So that's my montage for it now. I can actually go in here and do other things like scroll down. I can add keys to this, and you can do so much with montages, and I'm such a freaking noob with these, but you can do so much with them. Like when he does a certain, when you put your foot down, you can actually put a key there, and then he picks it up and he puts his other foot down. You apply a key there, and then you can put a particle effect inside your player character attached to that key. So you're actually, or in here as well, you can apply particle effects and all kind of cool stuff. So it looks like your feet are hitting the ground, playing sounds, whether it's for an attack or footsteps or whatever. So back to key 0. I pause it, go back to 0, and let's take create an asset, create animation, current pose, and I'm going to go back to my animation folder, and I'm just going to call this trashy. I'm not going to keep this one. But what I've done here, and I'm just going to hit save, go back out. So you can see it actually made a new animation. It is with 0 frames, essentially. So what can you do? I mean, you can right click and in here in this box and insert frame after 0. So now you have 1 frame. I'm still experimenting with this and learning how to do this stuff. So now I've got 1 frame. I can actually insert a frame after. I'll have to figure out how to actually add multiple frames, like add 10 frames in or whatever else. Insert frame after. And just keep clicking here. I forget which one I made that was I needed just a brief animation that was like 5 seconds long, and I did this. So there's 5 frames, and our guy doesn't actually do anything during these 5 frames because I just added frames. So this is his normal right here, and let's key apply, and let's just go ahead and click on dude here. We'll key and apply, and then I'll go over here and whatever. I'm just gonna grab the root and just do something stupid here. Lean him over, and I am on the last one, so I will key and apply. So now whenever I hit play, it's stuck in here. So actually, yeah, I'm still noob at this, so I forget how I did it to actually create that. But I did that with an animation for something here. But the hoverboard animation was I just made by modifying, like I showed you before there, modifying the the keyframe for the first one, and I said I like that one better than the one I was using. Hoverboard animation. This is the one that I'm currently using. And I could edit the version that I'm currently using, but you know what? To show you how I've got it in here is in the character blueprint. Load you up here. Whenever I am using the hoverboard, and this is replicated too, so play animation. So whenever I'm telling him to play the animation, hoverboard animation, hoverboard anim. So yeah, just select your animation here, but type in hover board animation. What is it? Oh, I call the other one boogie. Yeah, right there. So compile and save. Now I go in here and see how he's turned sideways. So I can go back in here to my animation, and which way is it turned? So as I'm walking this way, I hit the button, it turns him to the left. So I need to turn my root to the right. Nope. Snapping back on. And I'm going to pause it, carry it back to frame 0, key and apply and save. And now I come in here, there we go. And that's the new animation we just made, by modifying the idle animation of the thing. Foot placement's a little bit nicer than the one I had before. So the movement of the hoverboard, I still have a lot of tweaking to do on it. It looks good, it runs good, it's fun to screw around with. So if you let go of your movement, like stop, it coasts to a stop instead of just like running into a wall. It just was abrupt stop, but now it's actually, it slows to a stop instead of doing that. And again, if you're on a map like my dumb map here, set of materials on this one is horrible, and you get onto a hill, gravity actually will run you down the hill. When you get to the bottom, you can not go back up the hill while you're on your board, because the way that I did it. I'm sure there's another way I can go about doing it, but because my character actually, to get him to go down the slope, what I did was, so far I've reduced the ground friction, the braking friction, but I set the walkable floor angle to 15 degrees. Default is 45. So you can walk up a 45-degree angle. Find my camera here. You can walk up that, no problem. But what I've done is I've changed it to your max walkable slope is like 15 degrees. So now if you're on a 45-degree angle or anything above 15 degrees, you're not able to walk up it. And by default, your character slides down the mountain or slides down an incline. So that's why I went ahead and just did it as set walkable floor angle to 15. And I increased the speed to 900 versus default being 600 for max walk speed. The ground friction and braking friction, probably could change that as well. Default's 8 and 2. Do 0.1 and 0.1. Yeah, 0.1 and 0.01 for braking friction. So, trying to make it as slippery as possible, but only when you're on the hoverboard. You don't really have any control once you're going downhill either. I probably need to play around with materials too and other stuff, and actually get the true like riding on ice kind of vibe is what I'm wanting, but only when you're on the hoverboard. So, yeah, I'm a nut for Cindy Studios assets. Yeah, I'll get back to doing maps later. So, I'm actually going to change the player character. I know this is the model that I want for my end project, but as I'm developing a project, I'll switch between my characters. And I'm old. I know, no shock there, right? Could be a cyborg ninja. Just gotta change it up a little bit. I will get this version that I'm looking at right here. I will get this version uploaded. So this could be like a premium chassis. Like that, the right arm I don't like, but could straighten out the back a little bit maybe, or I don't know. It's good enough. But if you guys want, I'll go ahead and upload this version. There's no combat in it. This is the lobby anyway. It's not meant to have combat in it. But for screwing around with the hoverboard and seeing little things like the player launchers, it's going to bug me that that's not sitting the way that I want. It does have the rockets in here. So let's turn off snapping on that, and let's rotate this puppy dog down. That's better. That would have bugged me to where, yeah, too many OCDs. Alright, so I kind of like this skin for the Cyborg Ninja. I like the other one. Take a look at this. Dum-dum. The one thing that was bugging you, you fixed. So yeah, I put a couple of those spring pads in different areas so people can run around and try them out. Radar dishes trapping me. A few rotating things, a few little hidden things here and there for people to find. One of them I will say I'm going to take out. I left it in temporarily just to be a jackass. Oh, I hear a rocket. There we go. There's a rocket. The new modification, thanks to Zoldrinth suggestion there of adding some rotation. They already had a little bit of an arc to them anyway, the trajectory. So he inspired me to add rotation to the rockets. And the rockets will be changed. They're temporary. But they have their own sounds. They have the rocket booster thing coming out. And again, that was a placeholder rocket that I slapped together in probably 5 minutes. But it's nice having the sound for the hoverboard. Oh yeah, and plenty of NPCs walking around. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I guess I'll show you how I package these things for development builds. Sorry, I keep leaning in out of the freaking camera there. I've already packaged this. But what I do here is I create a folder on my hard drive. And I give it the name of whatever I want the zip file to actually become. So this one, I'm just calling it motion, the same thing as the actual project. So I've got a blank folder that I'm actually going to put it into. It's the same as where I put the other one. Everything is good. Let's save all, save selected. Make sure everything is good. Go back to my main menu map. Again, this is a multiplayer game, so. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Package Project. I've disabled all the other things here. I'm only packaging for Windows 64-bit. And then hit that, and it'll come up where you want to put it. Okay, I'm going to put it in the same folder that I just created. It's going to create, and with my template in place, it makes it so much easier. My multiplayer, simple multiplayer Steam template, 420 edition, and you can convert it to 421 if you want. I still am not a fan of some of the things done in 421, but yeah, it takes a minute or so to actually go through all this. But I figured I'd show this really quickly in the end of the video. I've shown this before, but it's just that simple to go ahead and package it. And it creates an exe file for it. There's no install file, so when you're sharing it, there's nothing that other players have to install. They just have to run the project. They don't have to have Unreal Engine 4. It's a standalone, playable end product. Building 8 actions with 8 processes. PCH motion. But yeah, you'll see a lot of stuff that'll be flipping through here. There's 1 or 2 things that'll show up in red, which look like errors. They're not. One I was like, it can't find something for Apple whatever, and I'm not developing anything for Apple or for any Apple product, so there's not going to be any compatibility for Apple stuff. It still shows as an error, but it doesn't affect anything. The Win 64, 99% of the people around the world should be, everybody should be on Windows 64-bit. Should be on Windows 10 64-bit. I'm going to stick with Windows 7 until I just have to upgrade. I'm fine with Windows 7. I have no desire to go to Windows 10. I haven't seen any reason that I needed to go to Windows 10. Go. Just about done. Whenever it gets to this point right here, you know you're just about done. I've packaged so many freaking projects that it just, you know, get used to it. Okay. And it's cooking the final packages. Any items that are there that it says Steam API disabled. It's not disabled. It works just fine. But yeah, definitely when you see that part, you're close to being finished. There we go. When you see stage command completed, package command started and completed, you're right there at the end. Build successful. Close that guy off, and now I can actually look back into the folder where I created it. And the next step that I do is everything gets packed into a Windows No Editor folder. I hate that crap. So I go into the Windows No Editor folder, I left click and select everything, and I drag it back to the root folder of Motion, which is the name of the project that I'm doing. And then I delete that stupidity so I can get rid of that Windows No Editor folder. And I will right click on this and add to motion.rar. Well, that's the name of this project. I am first going to delete the other version because I already have it, and I'm about to delete the version that's online. So motion, I'll delete that. The old version was 129 megabytes. Not bad. So now let's go back in here. I will right click on the root folder, which is called motion, or the name of the project is called motion. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to add to motion.rar. It's going to package it up, and what I'll do here is I'll run back through, make sure everything is good to go, which it better be good to go. I've already packaged it, and I'm already packing it as well. But yeah, that's it. The download size, come on, thank you. The download size for this project, if you want to download it and play it and run around and check things out, and these are a good way to also check out the asset pack too. Come on, so much crap in here. 136 megabytes, not bad. And uncompressed, it comes up to 583 megabytes, so still not bad. So I can close you out. I'm done with you. I can close you out. I'm done with you. So I don't have Unreal Engine 4 running. Well, technically it is running, because as of lately, if you click down here, you'll see that it's still running. But this is the current version. This is the version that I will be uploading and will be available. The link will be in my Discord channel. So go to hit multiplayer. If you want to find a game that's currently being hosted by somebody, all you'd have to do is click on multiplayer and then find. If nothing pops up, give it a second. If nothing pops up, then hit find lobby and it will search. It'll search for about 15 seconds. If there's nobody hosting a game that's in your Steam region, then you're going to have to either host or change your region. So I'm going to go ahead and host one. Doesn't matter what I call it because nobody has this version yet. And then I'm going to hit make. And there we go. And short term, everybody will get to be the Cyborg Ninja instead of the other character that's normal. But this is the actual game. Well, the demo for it at least. So you can walk around, you can do all the jumping stuff and go over here, jump to here, cheat, use the launch pads, explore, check the city out. I'm not gonna show you all this stuff, but there's these little launch pads are all over the frickin' map. And then you hit the number 1 key and you get a hoverboard with sounds and multiplayer replication. Dude, you're winded there. Hit 1, get back off of it. Hit 2, you start dancing. Hit 2 again, and stop dancing. So we come over here. There's just some random music playing. Supposed to be like somebody's got loud music in their apartment. You know, these are all just temporary things. And then you got the nightclub. The bouncer at the door, the dancers, bartenders. They're not active, not really doing anything just yet, but again, this is just short-term stuff. And the police car, there's Easter eggs all over the place, so I encourage you to check it out if you want to. But yeah, that or that, it all works. Damn hoverboard's addictive as shit, though. And again, with the hoverboard, you don't just grind to a stop. You slide to a stop. It's got brakes. While you're on your hoverboard, you won't be able to drive up inclines, but you can walk up it and then ride down them. Get out of my way, fool. Alright, that's it. I'm going to go ahead. I've already got it zipped up. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this video. I'm going to go ahead and upload this to Google Drive. I will post a link in my Discord channel. and it will actually go to inside my Discord channel. Nobody told your ass to go full screen. Kiss my ass. There's the BBG or dash demos page, and inside here there's already demos at Cog Demo, World War II. This is the Cindy Studios World War II. This is the earlier sci-fi one that I was working with, Wild West. This is just a couple of the cars you can drive from Cindy. This was John Galt's Jetpack. This is the TB4 for the city. TB4, which is Try Before You Buy. Sci-Fi, Polygon Town, Polygon Nature. Survival Demo, I'm not a fan of. This one is the Try Before You Buy version of the Battle Royale. I don't think that one includes combat. It's just so you can check it out. There's also the Explorer Kit. I have no idea what that one is. I'll have to go back and check that one. Binocular Screen and Mask. So if you want these, you can download those. They're 1920 by 1080p. You can use those free in your games. Shooter demo. Yeah, this one right here is just a shooter demo that I put together. You can try it out. Go screw around with that. Western Frontier. This is another Try Before You Buy. This one right here, I love this project, and I accidentally deleted the project files. But yeah, these are all free to download and play and just kind of screw around with right there in my Discord. The link to my Discord channel is in the description of the video. I'm going to go ahead and link the game as you see it right here into my Discord channel, into that channel. By the way, hit escape will bring you up to this menu. You get a mouse cursor, then you can either resume game or go back to the main menu. Number 1 key for getting onto the hoverboard with the new animation, and 1 to get back off, 2 to dance, and 2 again to stop dancing. Of course, WASD for controls, spacebar for jump. Escape key gives you this. Let's go back to the main menu, and there we go. We can exit game. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded to Google Drive, and it will be available in probably about 15-20 minutes to play. Hey guys, we'll see you soon.